Hi, my name is Mina Rickey,
And I am Lydia Korczak.
and this is Decode REI,
Discover your perfect real estate investment match with Decode REI.
your matchmaker in real estate.
Let us find your investment soulmate and make your heart and wallet happy.
Today we interview Michael and Vanessa Sanchez. Michael and Vanessa are owners of Management, that is LLC, MTI.
MTA focuses on revitalizing their hometown of Albuquerque, New Mexico by using multifamily real estate.
Michael and Vanessa believe in building their family and business together.
By building their business plan around God, marriage, and their children, it has allowed them to keep what is really important at the forefront at all times.
Welcome to the show.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you for having us. We really appreciate it.
Of course. So before we start out, we always like to ask you guys as a owner operators to tell us funny story, but it's more like a horror story. That's what it comes out to each and every time. The fun times being the owner operator. Can you share something with us and listeners?
Oh, yeah. There's always those stories, right? That are just, I'm sure everybody has them. The closest one that comes to mind, right, is just like yesterday, we're on our hands and knees scrubbing the floors because, our guys are great. They help, but we're up against a deadline. They have to go home. And for some reason, the guys that installed the floor got the glue all over the floor everywhere, right? And we're not going to not have a perfect product. So it's me and my wife scrubbing the floors, go in at 3 a.m, stay till midnight, whatever it takes, get them perfect. But the glue is green, right? Like bright green. So it's not like you can't see it. But now the floors look amazing. We're on a podcast, right? Right after. So that's how that works.
You had time to have breakfast, shower, put your singing voice on.
Barely.
Yeah, barely. You just fit it in. You fit it in with everything else.
Let me ask you, how did you? I'm sorry, but I need to know this. How did you clean up the floor? It's very important.
Oh, yeah.
I'm curious.
We tried a bunch of products. It was taking forever. And then somebody bring us just like straight rubbing alcohol. Perfect.
Get out of
Floors
here.
look amazing. Yeah, it started going so much faster.
Uh,
Did one room in about 3 hours and then one room in about 30 minutes after I had the alcohol. So,
Wow.
And we're on our hands and knees.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's fun parts of being owners of multifamily, but then there's also the parts where you got to get dirty.
Yeah.
Got to make
And this is why we like to ask these questions, because from the outside it just looks big, but then once you go inside you can see the little parts, and then after a few episodes you start to view the whole image. So when you said alcohol, was that tequila, whiskey?
Jameson.
Right? I would be like doing like this.
Well,
Let's
we're
get
on the floor.
floor. Clean it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So hearing all of this, would you still get into multifamily owner operator space?
Oh, absolutely.
Mhm.
Right after we
Why?
cleaned the floor, we had all the family and friends over, right? We're
Okay.
cleaning the floor to the last minute because we're having a showing for everybody before we open our apartments. And then you get there and everybody starts talking about their jobs, right? Their W-2s that they just got off of work. They start asking what we're doing, why we're doing it. And I start explaining I was just on my hands and knees, but I'm going to get a $600,000 tax write-off this year. And everything I make is going to be for us and my family. And we own this building and it's ours. And it's just, any bad times are clearly overshadowed very easily by
Absolutely. And let's just go ahead and recap it from the beginning. You guys are in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Yes.
How long have you been in the real estate business in general?
Okay, so we have been full time in real estate for 5 years now. I was a school teacher. I taught elementary school for about 10 years, and Michael worked with a general contractor as a project manager doing really large federal government work. And yeah, and one day we just looked at each other and said, there's better. He had been flipping houses and he loved it. And so I loved real estate, and we said, let's just do it. So full time, we've been in it for 5 years.
Okay.
So you both of you quit your jobs and just started to do it?
Yeah. Well, she had recently quit teaching and then we had opened our own business to do more project management. We did that for about a year, killed it, did great. making great revenues, great returns, and we were so stressed out dramatically from the federal government projects. And what happened was they were offering us more work. We love what you do. We're going to make everybody use you. And we started getting offers that it would have basically been like, okay, here's the next 8 years of your life, the same as this last year, this just as stressful, but probably more. And we said, no, thank you. We don't want any of your contracts.
Were you able to save some money so you could start with your real estate, or how? I mean, it just freaks me out that just to close the door at work. How did that happen? Tell me more.
Yeah, absolutely. We had money saved up. And really, if we would have known, we would have never jumped if we didn't have the money saved up because we were so scared. But we thought we needed so much more. The more we've learned, our first house we flipped together, we bought it all cash. We paid for the entire construction, risked everything, and then didn't get paid until it was finished. We could have got a loan on that. We could have probably done 4 houses at the same time, everything like that. But we didn't know any of that. So we definitely started with some cash from the business, right? We had a good first year and we cashed it all out and went from there. And ever since then, we've just been risking more and more of our money, finding more ways to put more money for more projects. So we get more efficient every project on how much money it costs us per door.
And until you got to this big building that you're talking about, with cleaning up the glue on the floor. Tell us, that's an amazing story. I love that story. Let's hear it. From how did you find it, and then how did you guys say yes to the dress, and then how did you guys just took on that project?
Yeah, so we were actually fixing and flipping homes. And Michael and I had gotten into more of the luxury homes, and we were doing a flip up in Santa Fe, New Mexico, right off of Canyon Road. It's this road that has like tons of art studios. I mean, just houses are millions of dollars. And so we found this amazing rundown home, and we saw the potential, and we were flipping it. And we went under contract, and we both looked at each other and we said, we don't want to continue doing this anymore. There has to be something different. And so we knew multifamily was always what we were going to get into. We didn't realize it was going to be right after that project and that fast. Michael went and met up with one of his friends who does multifamily in Omaha, Nebraska, came home and said, that's it. We're joining Jake and Gino and let's go. And so we joined a mentorship first, because one thing about Michael and I is we have to have education behind what we're doing. We can't just jump into it and go, okay, whatever happens. Like, we wanted to be educated about it. So we joined in October, and I was on Zillow one night, just kind of looking at what was there, because we'd always looked at homes. So I was just looking, and there was a 7,000 square foot office building that was for sale, but it was vacant and completely run down. And I texted him the link, and he woke up the next morning. We got on the phone with our realtor and we said, we have to see this. And so we went out there, we walked it. We actually took a purchase agreement with us, because we said, if we are going to buy it, let's do it now. One thing about Michael and I is, because of the extensive construction background and project management background, we knew that we could do whatever project it was. And so we walked in, we saw the potential. We said, let's put in the offer, full price offer, let's go. And we were under contract, and I think we closed within 3 weeks. So we got the project, and I mean, day one, we were in there demoing. We had our 9-year-old son at the time, or maybe he was 8.
Maybe he was 8, yeah.
He was in there demoing with us. Our little 2-year-old was in there demoing, and we kind of kick it off as a family, the project first. And then, our guys got in and started demoing, and then we just had this open 7,000 square foot space. And then Michael and I said, okay, what are we going to do? How are we going to do this? How are we going to lay it out? And we just went from there.
She lays it out. She's amazing. She's like, this is the best use of the space. She draws it up, right? We hire architects. We have design teams. We have all of that. But my wife draws it up first, drives them in the right direction. We know it because that helps us with all of our returns, right? We know exactly how many units we need, how many bedrooms, the unit mix we want. So you try to let people do their jobs, but also you have to be very steered at it. And I do the underwriting, and I tell her how many spaces we need, and then she finds a way to make it where we have that. And then it was office and warehouse before, gutted it out completely, and we had to redo everything: plumbing, heating, electrical, roofing, HVAC. We just had a shell of a building, and then we completely infilled it with the 7 luxury units that we have. So we turned in, all of them are about 1,000 square foot each, and just a huge project, right? It was more like doing 7 high-end homes than it was 7 apartments, because they're all costs were through the roof, but on purpose because we were going for the highest end of the market.
And let me ask you, so it was October of what year that you joined Jake and Chino?
2021.
And then when did you find this in Zillow?
January of 2022.
Okay.
So you were under contract. So this is February when you're demoing with your whole family.
Yeah.
And then you started to work in February, March 2022. So it's been a whole year of renovation and working on this project.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So I hear a lot people taking hotels, converting them into multifamily, but office building? Like, what is going on with that? How did you even seen taking an office building and convert it into multifamily?
Well, that's our sweet spot. We really like the office space sector right now.
Really?
Well, after COVID, office got wiped off the face of the earth. I mean, it's ugly out there
Mhm.
right now across the entire country. You're seeing vacancy rates of like 70% on office buildings, and office buildings are typically in amazing locations. Like when you see these skyscrapers, they're in the heart of downtowns, they're in the heart of uptowns, they're in the heart of everywhere. So we started with this one, but we're very heavy on office space. The problem on the other side, though, it's so expensive. Everything has to be very creatively done, from the purchase to the finance to the construction to the design. Everything has to fall into place, or else it won't work because it's too expensive. It's very hard to pull off.
Mina, I had an interesting experience the other day. I was showing properties to a family with 2 kids, and we had 10 to see. After viewing about half, the family was getting pretty hungry, and they really just wanted to continue the other day. So what did you do? I went to my car and pulled out a bag of delicious Rickey Jerky. They loved it so much they were able to continue our day without any issues. All the ingredients are 100% natural, plus every strip is seasoned, marinated, and smoked by hand to give you the best experience and slap you back into the gear. But I need to buy some more.
Oh, just head over to rickysjerky.com and use the discount code Decode REI for 15% off your first order.
So whether you're a busy real estate agent or just looking for mouth-watering snack on the go, Rickey Jerky got you covered.
And talk about the permits, because the
was gonna-
zoning for an office is not the zoning for a multifamily
Yep.
necessarily.
That's exactly what I was gonna say too. Is another side is permitting, because I know construction. I've done it. So do talk to us about the permits and the county or the city. How hard or how easy was it to convert it?
Yeah, I think one of the things, and that goes into our buy right criteria, what we're really looking for. One of the things was location. This property was a vacant office space in one of the best locations in Albuquerque. So that hit our buy right criteria right away. The second thing was being zoned for residential already. So the office space was already in a residential area. And so it already was zoned for that. We just had to do change of occupancy. So we didn't have to go through all of, to be able to rezone into a residential space. It was already like that, which was beneficial. Absolutely.
In any cities, you want to look for the transitional, like in Albuquerque, it's called mixed use transitional zone. And so transition areas are typically between your commercial and your residential, and they're already zoned to be whatever they need, because they want to mix to buffer from going straight from commercial to residential. In all cities in the spaces, there's spaces where it goes apartment building, a house, a commercial building, and it just like transitions. So it was an office, but it's already zoned for it to change it. But the change of use still makes you do the whole permitting and design, but it does take away all the rezoning. So it saves, that could be a 6 month to a year process off the front, that we take that out of the way and we go for it.
So what's the plan right now? So right now you have, and I've seen the Facebook videos and it looks so impressive. It's like, I want to live there. So right now you have 7 condo-like apartments in a great location, empty, right? They are empty. You're going to start renting them out. How is that looking? Are you guys going to do self management or hire somebody? What's going on that?
So we have actually partnered with a property management company that does corporate rentals. So Albuquerque, New Mexico is becoming, I think it's third in the nation for the filming industry. And after
Why?
Atlanta, yeah, I know. So
I'll go into that.
yeah.
It's amazing.
So it's
'cause
Hollywood, Atlanta, and then Albuquerque, New Mexico. And so Netflix just invested like $8 billion for their new facility about 10 minutes away from where we live. And I think because of our climate and our weather, it just really adds to being able to film all year long, but we have such beautiful landscaping. So, you know, they could go anywhere in our state and have different views of things.
Yeah.
But there is a company here that does corporate rentals with Netflix. They also have
all the other filming companies.
Companies, all of that. So we actually have given our 4 furnished units to them to rent. So we signed our contracts a couple weeks ago, and that is going to be their responsibility. So they're taking on 4 furnished units. We are going to self-manage the 3 others that are long-term, and those are unfurnished. So it's kind of going to be a mix. Michael and I thought that was, we like that idea because they have the connections. They have those people that can come in and rent. And what they're looking at right now is about $3,500 for the furnished. Like I said, they're beautiful units. We had our open house last night, and everybody walking through was like, this doesn't feel like an apartment. It doesn't feel like even a condo. It feels like a home. And people just kept saying, I want to move in. I want to move in. So we're going to self-manage the front ones. We've had experience with managing our own properties. And we're really big on customer service and just giving our residents the best experience. You know, it's their home away from home or whatever, if they're here for business or whatever. But, you know, what's interesting is because it was office space, we have these huge like storefront windows, and people have come to the property who are from New York, who live in big cities like LA, and it reminds them of the cities and their apartments that they had in these big skyscrapers, you know, and they're just like, oh my gosh, this reminds me of my big city living. And we just kind of looked at each other and said, yes, that's what we were trying to achieve.
That's
because
our target market.
We have been traveling the last 2 years like crazy. And we go to these big cities and we think, Albuquerque needs this. Like, this would be so cool if Albuquerque had it. And I feel like we accomplished that in this project.
That's great. Now, did you had a city officials when you pulled the permits give you a blessing, or are they open to all of that?
Yes, absolutely. Because the housing shortage in Albuquerque and because of the amount of vacant buildings, the mayor is really pushing for converting hotels like you were talking about, office space. They just see a lot of abandoned building and a lot of need for housing. So they didn't give us any problems. I mean, we know how to work the system and follow everything to the letter of the law, and so much so that we usually ahead of it by a good amount to save time on the schedule because we know how it works. We know how the system works, and we're not trying to cut any corners, right? The places you get in trouble with the city is when you're like, oh, I'm going to save this old electrical and reuse it, or I'm not going to put fire suppression. We know when we budget that we're going to redo everything because trying to fight with them will cost months or years, but we gutted everything. So what can they argue about, right? New fire suppression, new fire alarm, new electrical, new water. We know we're doing it. They can't say anything. I mean, we're doing everything to code. Everything's designed. So when we know we're doing that, even a little bit higher than they would like because it's our product, they can't stop us. I mean, they could try, but they won't win.
And I think it goes along with the property management. When we do a construction project and we're the project managers, we don't cut the corners. We make sure that even the inspectors who are walking through our property are given the best experience that they could possibly be given. It doesn't matter if you're a resident with us or somebody who's just coming to inspect our property. I feel like we give that red carpet service to everybody. And there were so many times when inspectors were walking the building going, wow, this is like one of the first places I've walked into where I didn't have so many corrections. Like, you guys did things really well. And it's like, absolutely. Michael sits there and he studies the books and he makes sure that we're providing the best product that we possibly could. And so
it's very stressful, right?
It is.
But you do it just like any other business. The inspector walks in. I know what door I want him to walk in. I'm going to be sitting there waiting, even if it's a real inspection, wasting my whole day to see when he shows up, pull him through the right door. All the lights are going to be turned on. Like if you're showing a house to sell it, right? Like all those things, it doesn't even matter about the code or the inspection. Whenever you, all of our guys have like cleaned and mopped. There's no reason to mop before a construction inspection, but it looks pristine and it makes the whole experience better. And they just like walk in and start talking. they don't even look around. They sign it off when they trust you. It's crazy, but you gotta attack it with everything you got, especially, right? We risk everything we have in these projects, so you got to do it to the full extent.
It's basic customer service.
Exactly.
Basic. That inspector is a human being.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
most of the time, he doesn't get treated like that. And that's not what I was going to say, but I do salute that and recognize it. I love when you guys say that you travel and you see things, and then you say that should be in Albuquerque. And I love that because it shows how much respect and gratitude and how wholesome your whole view of the business is. That's also not what I wanted to ask you. The next thing I do want to ask you though is, are you guys thinking to redo the same project model with with more buildings? You mentioned there is a lot of buildings like that in Albuquerque.
Yeah, absolutely. So Michael and I were born and raised here in Albuquerque.
Mhm.
Even though we both went to college, and then as soon as we graduated college, we both went out of the state. It was like, okay, Michael's doing his traveling and his internships, and I'm going and I'm traveling and doing my
And
having
we
my
didn't know each
job.
other at this
We
time.
didn't know each other
Yeah,
at the time,
yeah.
but we got
But
out of
same.
Albuquerque, and then we came back because we missed it so much, because our culture is here, our ties are here, our whole entire family is here. And I think in both of our hearts, we love our city so much, and we see that there are so many boarded up buildings, so many businesses that have been shut down. Like Michael said, after COVID, you just see office building upon office building just completely almost vacant. And it hurts us. Like, this is the city we live in. This is the city we love. Our kids are growing up here. We want to revitalize our city and make it beautiful and show other people how beautiful it is, because now we have such an influx of so many new businesses and employment. I mean, our governor did such a great job of just bringing so much to our state, but it needs to look pretty and it needs to be enticing. And when we go travel and we're like, oh my gosh, we can't wait to come back, that's how I want people to feel when they come here. And so, to answer your question, absolutely. We feel like we have taken this building that was not very attractive, and people walk by it now and are like, oh my gosh, this is pretty. Like, what did you guys do? And all of the neighbors, like even just the neighbors that live in that area or who own other multifamily properties in that area, they come up all the time to us and say, thank you so much. Like, thank you so much for doing this for even just our street. I'm so excited to get my property up and running and looking better as well, because it's going to make all of it look better. And so, yes, we definitely want to do adaptive reuse. We want to take more buildings and turn them into beauty, because they're all beautiful in their own right. Not everybody can see it. I think that's where we get those, we have that vision of, oh my gosh, look at that beautiful building, even though it's all tagged up and boarded up and broken windows. But yes, absolutely. That's our heart, and that's what we want to do for our city.
Yeah.
That sounds
And
great.
of course, the
I'm
numbers
sorry,
have
go
to work.
ahead.
We're so
Numbers
excited
have to work.
about this the
It's,
project you guys are doing and the vision that you have and the team that you guys in. We're getting close to almost to the end of our podcast, and there's so much I want to know. Is I know you've been working together, but talk to me about your team. Like, who's in your team?
So we're the general contractor and the project manager, right? We always have to have
Mm-hmm.
a lot of multifamily people have their teams all divided up. But with these projects, our first portion is our designers, our subcontractors, our team, our crew. We have guys that we have hired on our team as well.
We are the general contractor, and we subcontract out most all of the big ticket things like electrical, flooring, demo, all of that stuff is subcontracted. But Michael is the one that's running the entire project.
And then
So
from there,
he's GC.
Yeah.
from there we go into, like, we have all of the people around us, right? Other real estate investors. We all bounce ideas off each other. By having strong real estate connections, we all share subcontractors. We share ideas. We share just everything. And then we have, of course, real estate agents, insurance agents, everything once we get there. But we're also vertically integrated. So we have the property management in-house that we do. But it's a lot of hiring out. And it's really just building our base, right? We're still real small from where we see ourselves going. We're building the base strong, doing the systems. It's a lot on our heads right now. But the goal is to get more and more team members, but to do it our way, for MTI's way. We need to have it completely laid out, our business plan, our systems, and we keep bringing more and more people. And either they fit the culture or they don't, right? And so we're still in the process of building the team. But from the construction side, we do have a good team of subcontractors already in place that we've been working with for years. So it's really awesome.
And then I also think one of the most important people on our team is our banker. She
Mm.
is a connection that we met a couple years ago through a local meetup, and she's just been absolutely wonderful. So yeah, when we have a new project, Michael simply calls him and says, hey, like, this is our new adventure. What do you think? Would you guys be able to help us, give us a loan, and talk all those terms? So he has been an absolute amazing team member.
For sure, because these aren't traditional funding for these projects. So he's thinking outside the box with us. We have a local bank willing to get creative on how to put these together so they'll work, because without that, we wouldn't be able to do these projects, right? We're using all their money. We don't have all of our money yet. So
And then also,
Yeah,
our team is a family, you know, my parents, my mother-in-law,
Mm.
we have cousins who help us with the kids at times. And I think, you know, that's important too. Those team members are absolutely vital to our
Mhm.
business succeeding.
So that's a big team, great team. I know you're probably looking for limited partners who can partner up with you or joint ventures. How can people find you, contact you?
Sure. The best way is through our website, MTINM.com. So that's management that is the name of our company. So MTI New Mexico.com. You could also find us if you look us up on Facebook, you can find us there as well. And then our emails, Michael at MTINM.com and Vanessa at MTINM.com is where you can find us.
I know that's almost like it's kind of saying goodbye, but before
Bye.
we go, one more question. What does your day to day looks like? Because it sounds like you are really busy with everything going on. And how do you have time for family?
If you could tell us how to do that would be great. No, I mean, every week seems to change. We really have to have weekly meetings to reset the next week because we wear so many hats. A project life cycle makes you change your schedule every part of the life cycle of the project. So at the beginning, we're doing one thing. In the middle, we're doing one thing. At the end, and then we go into property management. We are completely always meeting and restructuring our schedule, trying to find team members to take stuff off our plate. But the day to day, I mean, yeah, right now I get up at 4 a.m, do some Bible study, and then I get into laying out my day, go into that, and then try to get over to the job site, work from there, and then try to if the job site's running smooth that day, I could get on the computer, start looking for new deals, start doing education, networking, all those things. If it's not running smooth, the day's gone, right? I'm in there hands on doing whatever needs to get done to make sure it goes right, but it's getting smoother and smoother as it goes. And Vanessa runs completely different parts of the company, so she has a completely different day.
Yeah. Well, and I think the whole reason for starting our business was to make sure that our family was always number one. And so, I mean, Michael and I sit and have meetings every Thursday and talk about how are we going to just get better at making sure that our family is at the forefront of it all, and that we're giving the time that we need to growing our family and making sure that all of our needs are met, our kids. So what's nice is that not every day looks the same. If I have a meeting at Noah's school, then he and I go to the meeting. We're both there. We're both sitting there with the teacher in the middle of our day, and we're very connected at the school. So as we're walking out, we hit everybody and the vice principal and the principal. And so, you know, what was supposed to be a half an hour meeting turns into being at the school for 3 hours. And we actually left the other day and we just looked at each other and I told him, thank the Lord. Like, we are so blessed that we're able to not only just run our business, but also continue to grow these relationships within our community. And so that day looked completely different. And we're in the middle of finishing this project.
That was between scraping the glue off the floor. We had at the school.
We're changing in the car. Yeah. And so from our dirtiness, but it's that flexibility, I feel like, that's so important and that we love. So yeah, but I mean, we get done what we need to. I try to finish work every day by 5. So my kids don't feel like they're neglected. So computers are shut off, phones turned off. And Noah has gotten very good at telling me, Mom, your phone is in your hand. And it's like, oh, sorry. So yeah, they hold us accountable for sure.
We have seen you grow, and it's just been such a gift. And you two are one of my favorite people from the beginning since I met you the first time. And we just love to have you. Thank you for carving
Yes.
up the time between.
Thank
the
you.
school meetings and the glue cleanup and the alcohol.
The alcohol. Yes, thank you. Thank you for coming and sharing your experience and something totally different, taking offices and converting them into apartment complexes. I think it's a little bit different than what we heard before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we should have you back just
Yes.
to get an update on
Yes.
how things are coming along.
Let's do
Yeah,
Thank
it.
you again.
absolutely. Yeah, thank you guys. You guys hold a special place in our hearts too. So
Absolutely.
we
Oh,
very much
thank you.
appreciate this.